Hello jobbergs! Welcome once again to my channel. This is Sir Job and welcome to Sir Job TV. Para sa lahat po ng mga new explorers tsaka newly discovered pa lang po ang aking channel, please don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell for you to be updated with my future videos. So finally, we are done discussing the topics in MELC number 5. So for this morning, I am super excited to open up the topic of MELC number 6. So our topic for this morning is groups within society. Welcome to my video number 57. So good morning once again, Golden Jobbergs. It's another rainy day and today is Monday. It's January 11, 2021. So welcome once again to another daily vlog of Sir Job TV in line with our project, the 365 Circle project of my YouTube channel. So I hope that you will be with me for the 365 Circle project ng aking YouTube channel. So before we have to continue discussing, I would like to highlight first the MELC or the description of MELC number 6, which is analyze the forms and functions of social organizations. So ito po ang target natin. What is the learning competency? The focus of this particular video, we have traces, kinship ties, and social networks. So basically, our target for today's video is we have to evaluate the different groups existing within the society. That's how we need to evaluate and we need to know for this particular video. So I hope that you will watch this particular vlog from beginning to end and I'm sure that you will learn something from this one. No man is an island. We are part of a whole being. We cannot live independently at all times. We cannot always function by ourselves alone. We need other people's help because of our limitations. We are not self-sufficient. We rely on each other. Everyone lives for one another. As humans, we tend to create connections. We tend to create groups from the people around us. We are capable of establishing groups by way of our different relationships with other people such as family, friends, neighbors, classmates, workmates, and other individuals whom we share common identity and interest. Our relationships with other people cost us to survive. We develop ourselves through social interactions. The society around us helps us grow to be a better individual. The person and society are inseparable. One cannot exist without the other. It is a two-way relationship that binds both the person and the society for growth. With this, social groups are formed. So proceeding to our discussion, let us first recognize the concept of the social group. When we are speaking of social group in the first place, it may be defined as a group of individuals who often act with each other on the premise of shared expectations regarding behavior and who share a common identity. So highlight natin, if we are talking of social group, focus our attention on the concept of often act with each other, okay, or shared expectations regarding behavior and who share a common identity. So ito po ang mga element na dapat nating remember. Okay, meaning to say you are interacting daily, you are conversing daily. So that's basically one point when we are speaking of social group. Meaning to say, nabubuo ang isang grupo because there is constant interaction happening. So there are categories of social groups that we are talking about. Letter A, we have according to social ties. So according to social ties, meron po tayong dalawang uri ng grupo. The first one is the primary group. Ano ang ibig sabihin ng primary group? Primary group is a typical small social group whose members share close, personal, intimate, and face-to-face association and cooperation and have strong emotional ties. Okay? That's how we have to identify. Highlight natin yung mga statement na binasa ko kanina. The close, personal, intimate, and face-to-face association and cooperation. Okay? Meron po silang strong emotional ties when we are speaking of primary group. The members have a feeling of togetherness and belongingness and sympathetic with one another. So, examples natin, pag sinabi nating primary group, we have families, friendship groups, play groups, peer groups, and of course, our neighbors. Okay, ito yung mga tinatawag nating primary groups. Bakit andito ang neighbors? Because sometimes kasi ang ating mga kapitbahay is mga kapamilya lang din po natin. This is common example here in the Philippines. So yan po ang tinatawag nating primary group. Meaning to say, they have strong emotional ties or usually mga relatives lang po ito. So second one, when we are speaking of according to social ties as to the categories of groups, we have the secondary group. Pangalawa po ito, secondary group. Ano ibig sabihin ng secondary group? Can be a small or large who do not interact much. Okay? Who do not interact much. Mostly impersonal. Interactions among members are casual and usually short term. Okay? Occasionally, nagkikita kayo or you can be friends pero sa ganitong period of time lang. At the end of that, tapos na. Okay. Typically found at work and school. Okay, yung mga katrabaho mo or yung mga classmates mo kung ikaw ay nag-aaral, sila po ang mga secondary group natin. Okay, examples include the group for a school project. Okay, kumbaga meron kayong research paper na binuo, yung grupo ninyo, secondary group yan. Okay, kasi meron ka ng primary group na nauna. Okay, members of the committee, superior and subordinate relationship, faculty, staff, relationship, yan, and the seller and the buyer, secondary group po yan lahat. Let's proceed with our discussion sa according to self-identification. So, kanina, ang diniscuss ko sa inyo, letter A, according to social ties. So, let's proceed now to according to self-identification. How are you going to recognize yourself as part of the group? Number one is in-group. Pag sinabi kong in-group, is a social group to which an individual identifies and which give him or her a sense of belongingness, solidarity, camaraderie, the feeling of togetherness, and protective attitude toward the other members. Okay, the members know each other intimately and loyal to each other. Okay? So, they share common activities, goals, and background. So, pag sinabi kong in-group, you are simply part of the group. Pasok ka sa grupo. Okay? You have your loyalty to the group. Okay? Meron kang sense of belongingness to the group. Okay? So, parang connected siya doon sa primary group because you are having a close emotional ties with this particular group. Part ako ng grupong ito. So, in-group. Okay? Examples for this particular group, we have the membership of a church organization. So, yung religion mo, kung saan ka nabibilang, that is in-group. Okay? Kung saan ka nabibilang, that is in-group. Sports club. Okay? If you're a member, if you are athletic, kung ano ang sports club mo, that's an in-group. Another example, being a poor, the community of poor people, the community of rich people. Being a Filipino is an in-group. Okay? Kung ikaw ay isang Filipino citizen, that is in-group. Okay? And other social categories. Like for example, we are talking about social stratification, mayaman, mahirap, upper class, lower class, and the middle class, that is in-group. Meaning to say, napasok ka sa ang grupo na yan. You are part of the group from the word in-group. Okay, the second one, according to self-identification, we have the out-group. Okay, this is the opposite one sa in-group. When we are speaking of out-group, is a social group that an individual does not identify with. Okay? Viewed as outsiders of the in-group. Okay? Any member of the in-group has a feeling of strangeness, avoidance, antagonism towards the members of the out-group. Example could be a sports team opponent. So yung kalaban mo sa isang play or sa isang sports, yan ay out-group. Like for example, group kayo ng school nyo, representative kayo ng school nyo, yung ibang school na mayroon ding mga representatives, you consider them as an out-group of your group. You get the point? Okay. So, let's proceed. Another one, para mas lalong maintindihan, if we are law abiders, the out-group is the law violators. We violate the laws. The law abiders are the out-group. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Kung ikaw ay isang law abiders, ang tingin mo sa law violators, sila ang out-group. You are the in-group. Correct? Pero pag si law violators naman ang tinanong ko, ang sagot naman ni law violators sa mga law abiders, sila po ang mga out-group from the law violators. So vice versa lang po, depende kung sino ang tinanong, depende po kung sino ang nag-state. Nakuha niyo po ang ibig kong sabihin? Again, kung si law abiders ang tinanong ko, sasabihin niya na out-group ang law violators. Pero pag tinanong ko naman si law violators, ang sagot naman niya is out-group si law abiders. So that's how the concept is being applied in the interaction. The third one, under self-identification, is we have reference group. Pag sinabi nating reference group, they serve as a model of standards. We use them as patterns to guide behaviors and attitudes. Example, if we belong to the middle class, we may feel fortunate and satisfied in comparison to the poor class, or dissatisfied in comparison with the rich or upper class. So it all depends on which social category serves as a reference group. From the word reference, saan mo ibinase ang iyong opinion or saan mo ibinase ang iyong statement. Like for example, ikaw ay isang middle class, ikaw to middle class, okay? So pag tinanong kita ngayon, pointing to the upper class, of course, dissatisfaction ang ma-feel mo kasi mas higher si upper class compared sa middle class. Pero kung ikaw naman as a middle class, tinanong kita in comparison to the lower class of the society, of course, you are satisfied. Why? Because you are higher than the lower class. So, depende po kung saan ang reference mo nakabase. Okay, letter C, according to purpose. Number 1, under the according to purpose, we have special interest groups. Ano ito? It refers to groups which are organized to meet the special interest of the members. Example, hobby groups. Meaning to say, you love swimming, you love biking, you love singing, you love dancing, you love Zumba, and any other interest of your life, nagbuo kayo ng grupo. Okay? You love singing, meron kayong group, and every day, nagkakaroon kayo ng banding together. That is special interest groups. Okay? Second, we have the task groups. Pag sinabi kong task group, it refers to groups assigned to accomplish jobs which cannot be done by one person. Highlight natin, which cannot be done by one person. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan grupo ang magtrabaho nito. Examples are working committee. Diba, in a certain program, merong mga committee, food committee, decoration, invitation, letter, documentation. Lahat ng yan ay pasok dito sa task group. Meaning to say, na-assign ka because you are accountable for that particular committee. Do you get my point? Okay. So, another one is construction workers. Okay? Kung saan merong mga area of responsibility in a given job na kailangang tapusin. Okay? And lahat po ay nagtutulungan to finish that particular job. Okay? Kung ano man po ang trabaho mo na ginagawa in that particular building na binubuo ninyo. Okay, number 3. under the according to purpose. Nabuo ang grupo. Number 3, influence or pressure groups. Pag sinabi kong influence or pressure groups, it refers to groups organized to support or influence social actions. Okay, example for this one, highlight natin ha. Highlight natin dito is to support or influence social actions. So examples are social movements, okay, campaign groups, and political parties. From the word pressure groups or influence groups, meaning to say your idea is being influenced by their idea, so sumali ka sa grupo nila. Okay, usually mga social actions, mga social movements, ito like for example, you are doing a rally for a certain campaign na isinisigaw nyo sa ating government, something like that. So this is part of the pressure groups. Okay, nagiging part ka or you are being influenced by the idea of this particular group, kaya sumali ka. Okay, campaign groups or mga political parties, you are favoring that particular group or that particular political parties kasi you feel like yung platform na present nila is better than the other group or the other political candidate, something like that. Next, letter D, we have according to geographical location and degree or quality of relationships. Okay, number 1, under this one, geographical location tayo ha. Number 1, we have the Gemeinschaft. Okay, Gemeinschaft, it refers to a social system in which most relationships are personal or traditional. Highlight, personal or traditional. It is a community of intimate, private, and exclusive living. Highlight, intimate, private, and exclusive living. The activities, interests, and personalities of the members center around the large family groups and neighbors. Okay, culture is homogeneous. Pag sinabi kong homogeneous, one, unified, solid, okay, and tradition bound. Okay, meaning to say they are culturally affiliated. They preserve their culture properly dito sa grupo ng Gemeinschaft. Okay? Example for this one, we have the tribal groups, the agricultural and fishing villages, and the barrio folks or people. So meaning to say, pag sinabi kong Gemeinschaft, it is focusing on the area of the rural communities na kung saan may mga maliliit na grupo no na magkakapamilya lang, so almost everything about their lives sinishare po nila. Okay, or they are united as one community. The second one is the Gesellschaft. Ang Gesellschaft naman, it refers to a social system in which most relationships are impersonal, formal, contractual, or bargain. Okay? Relationship is individualistic, business-like, secondary, and rationalized. So meaning to say, pag sinabi kong Gemeinschaft, this is referring to the primary group usually. Okay? Pag sinabi kong Gesellschaft, this is referring to the secondary group that I am discussing a while ago. So highlight natin yung mga statement na individualistic, business-like, secondary, and rationalized. Meaning to say, you met for a certain period of time only, and then after that, okay, tapos na ang transaction. That's how we are going to describe this particular group. Culture is heterogeneous. Kung kanina, homogeneous ang Gemeinschaft, ngayon naman heterogeneous, meaning to say diverse, okay, and more advanced. Pag sinabi natin Gesellschaft. Example for this one, we have the city or the urban groups. Like for example, mga subdivisions, ang daming bahay sa subdivision pero hindi po sila close. Halos hindi po sila magkakilala kasi almost all the people living there is may mga trabaho every day. So, labas-pasok lang, punta sa work, balik pagka sa bahay, punta na naman sa work. So, that's how their routine. Ang Gemeinschaft kasi iba. Kasi usually sa mga tao dito, walang mga trabaho din. So lumalabas sa kanilang bahay, nakikipagkwentuhan sa mga friends and mga neighbors, mga good neighbors, something like that. So this is how we are going to identify as how we justify the geographical location. Meaning to say, pag Gemeinschaft, maliit ang area, and then close, solid, okay, there is unity within a community. Pag sinabi ko namang Gesellschaft, wala silang masyadong connection sa kanilang mga kapitbahay or any other people na kalapit sa kanilang mga tahanan. So something like that. So letter E, we have according to form of organization. According to form of organization. Number 1, we have formal groups. Pag sinabi kong formal groups, they are also called social organizations. They are deliberately formed and their purpose and objectives are explicitly defined. Meaning to say, klaro. Okay, highlight, lantad. Their goals are clearly stated and the division of labor is based on the members' ability or merit. Meaning to say, kung ano ang educational background mo, kung ano ang expertise mo, ikaw ang gagawa nito, ikaw ang magtatrabaho nito. That is basically part of, or that is basically the description of the formal group. So formal organizations have a certain type of administrative machinery. Okay? Highlight natin, administrative machinery, which is aimed to enable members to meet their goals. So meron silang goal for this year, for example, or for this month. So let's work together as one. Okay? This administrative structure is called bureaucracy. Pag sinabi kong bureaucracy, the example of this one is the government. Okay? So pag merong government, like for example sa atin dito, we have our own government here in the Philippines. So meron tayong president, vice president, mga senators, and other positions na nagko-control ng ating government. Okay? So that's basically the point. So formal group siyan. Pag merong constitution and bylaws, for example, like an organization of teachers or an organization of student bodies or even sa inyong classroom mismo, meron kayong rules and regulations na sinusunod, right? So, in a bigger scope, here in the country, in the Philippines particularly, we have our 1987 Constitution. Are you aware of that? Nandiyan ang ating mga batas, mga karapatang pantao, and everything else na pwede nating mabasa in connection to the Philippine context. Okay? So, that can be considered a formal group. On the other hand, meron din po tayong informal groups. An informal group arises spontaneously out of the interactions of two or more persons. Okay? It is unplanned. Okay? It has no explicit rules for members, okay, and does not have specific objectives to be attained. So, perfectly opposite po siya sa formal group na diniscuss ko kanina. So, hindi ito nakaplano, walang rules and regulations, walang constitution and bylaws na sinusunod, something like that. Wala silang goals and objectives na gusto nilang ma-achieve. Basta lang grupo lang sila. It has the characteristics of primary groups. Ano yung primary groups? Pinaka-highlight natin doon is yung family. Okay? And members are bound by emotions and sentiments. So itong informal groups, usually mga cousins, siblings, mga closest nating mga neighborhood, yung mga kasabayan mong lumaki, ito yung mabubuo, magkakaroon talaga ng informal group within that particular area. So that's basically how we are going to justify this one in the interaction. Okay? Kasi sabay kayong lumaki, sabay kayong naglalaro noon, nung unang panahon. So nabuo ang grupo. So so example for this one, we have the barkadas. Okay? Yung mga closest friends mo talaga magmula nung bata pa kayo hanggang ngayon, that is an informal group. Okay? Walang mga documents, walang mga rules and regulations. Basta lang, friends lang tayo. And we are so close with each other. Kaya sinabi dito, ang grupo na ito is bound by emotions and sentiments. Or barkadas or mga gangs. But hopefully, wag tayong pumasok sa mga gang na ang goal nila is sumira ng buhay ng iba. Okay? Kasi may mga grupo din naman na they are they created a group because ang goal nila is ganito. Okay? So hopefully, you have to select who do you want to be with in the interaction. Mag-ingat po tayo because the situation right now is very dangerous already. Okay, you know already kung ano ang nangyayari sa atin recently here in the Philippines. So the last one, as far as groups within society is concerned, is meron tayong concept of networks. Or pag sinabi natin networks or the link or connection are defined as sets of informal and formal social ties. So, formal and informal control or sakop or scope nito that link people to each other. Social network is a sociological concept for a group of independent individuals and the relationship between them. It is formed by the presence of social linkages for some personal, economic, religious, or political reasons. The social actors within a network might be people, families, organizations, corporations, states, or a mixture of individuals and groups. So basically, pag sinabi kong networks or link or connection, very important po ito. Given example, bibigay ko sa inyo example is, for example, the existence of a school. Ang school po, hindi po siya magsusurvive. I'm talking with the Department of Education, Basic Ed. Hindi po siya magsusurvive without networks. Meaning to say, kung si teacher at saka student lamang ang magra-run ng school, hindi po siya magsusurvive. So, kailangan po natin ng networks. Ano ang mga networks? Like for example, tatay up po tayo sa mga LGUs, okay? And then, mga stakeholders, other stakeholders in the barangay or kung saan po located ang school ninyo. So, we have to tie up our connection with the parents as part of the stakeholders and of course, yung mga barangay officials in all of our projects in school, they should be included. Kaya nga meron tayong General Parents and Teacher Association kasi in order for us to connect with our different linkages. Yun po, kailangan po talaga siya. So, as a person also, or in identifying the different groups, part po talaga ang mga grupong ito. No? Yung mga group of businessmen, corporations, or any organizations, mga families. So, pag sinabi nating networks, lahat na po is part. Kasi kanina, as I discussed to you from letter A to E, okay, naka-specify po siya kung saan po kayo na belong na group. But when we are talking of networks, whether it is formal or informal group, you are connected with each other in order for that particular interaction to survive. So that's basically what we are trying to emphasize at this particular video, discussing to you the concept of groups within society. So that will be all for this morning. I hope you learned something from this video and I hope that you will share this video to your friends and to anybody else that you think na kailangan ng video na ito. Asahan nyo po that Sir Job TV will continue to discuss more meaningful discussion, especially in the field of social sciences. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye!